So installing an electrical panel is not as bad as many people think. It's pretty simple. It's a 2 to 4 day process when you include the permits and all the work that needs to be done, the city inspection, getting the city to hook things back up. Overall, you're without power for somewhere between, I don't know, 2 to 6 hours in a day. We start our days at 7 a.m. So it's a pretty efficient day to just get all the old equipment off, new equipment installed, and connect things up. Your refrigerator will be fine. You're not going to have to worry about your food spoiling or anything like that. If it is during like a hot month, that may be a little bit uncomfortable. If it's during a super cold day, that may be a little bit uncomfortable too. Your house temperature might drop a little bit, but we do our best to get everything connected back up as soon as possible. Give us a call. A system like the one we just looked at was about $6,000 to $8,000 to do something like that. It's quite a bit of work with all the permits and grounding, running new cables and things of that sort. But if you're just looking to replace your panel, don't be worried. We can help you out. We do offer financing, and it's a pretty quick and painless install. So we'll guide you along the way and make sure that you have everything you need. All right. So for this particular electrical panel, the panel was replaced, and you've got your Lutron system here. Super cool. But this cable right here, this large cable, this guy needs to be replaced. Okay. So what does that take? What is that going to take to do? It's a lot of cable. We're just going to follow this guy all the way. And so you see it here. It's going up and over top. Get on this side here, and it comes back out over here, and it's going all the way through. Boopity boopity boop. All the way through this guy. And then we're popping out right here. Needs to be strapped. Looks like they removed our strap. Anyway, so that pops out over here, okay? And right on the other side of this is our meter. And let's go outside and take a look at that, okay?
A few moments later.
All right, so this is our meter right here, okay? And we've got a 200 amp panel in there. All right, 200 amp breaker. And then that's gonna go all the way up there and shoot straight across into the street. So that one ended up being a little bit higher than 16 feet, just so that we have our clearances over the street. So there's a little bit of work that goes into this. We do have our cable coming down here, and it's grounded. That's our ground wire going into the ground. So a system like the one we just talked about, with this new pipe, with the wiring going inside, and also the new panel inside, not including smart features, is about $6,900. It's a lot of work. It's probably 3 to 4 days of work for us when you combine all the inspections and getting the city out here to do their job as well. It all has to be timed well so that you're not without power for an extended amount of time. And in order for us to do it that way, most of our customers experience shutdowns of power for 4 to 6 hours, and that's usually all in one day. And it's a pretty efficient system. So we get a lot of questions from people about upgrading their panels. When is it time? Some people think that replacing this box will solve all of their electrical problems in their house. That is false. It will not. Upgrading your panel will usually just fix the problems here at the panel. So if you already have a breaker that trips all the time, replacing your panel most of the time will not fix that problem. What does replacing a panel do? Why would somebody do that? Well, sometimes you've got panels like Federal Pacific, Zinsco panels. You might have a split bus system, or you simply may just need more space in the panel. Those are all great, or you might need to relocate the panel. Those are just some of the reasons. I'm sure there's others out there. For instance, Zinsco, Federal Pacific, they have both lost their UL listings. What does that mean? That means those panels are no longer manufactured. They do make replacement breakers for them, but they're very expensive, and they don't offer some of the same safety features that new breakers do. So let's take a look at this specific panel. If you notice here, we've got all these twin breakers here in this panel. This panel was designed to accept these breakers, and then you've got breakers that look like this. So basically, one of these breakers takes up 2 spaces, or one of these breakers is split. Takes this space and splits it so you can have 2 there. Isn't that really cool? So instead of thinking, if you had a bunch of these breakers in your panel and they were all filled up, one may think that they need a new panel, but you don't. You actually just need to get one of these and split it. Of course, talk with your local electrician and make sure that that's what's actually happening in your panel.
There's also something called energy load management, is what it's called. And there's a few companies that are getting into this. One of them is Span. We've installed a few Span panels, and those are really cool because if you had a 100 amp panel in your house, you don't necessarily need to upgrade it. You might just be able to put in a Span panel, and by being connected to the internet, learning how you use your electrical system, it will actually shut off breakers or prioritize energy in other parts of your home so that you don't actually have to upgrade to 150 amps or 200 amps. You can stick with what you have. As always, check with your local electrician. A lot of guys, Span does ask that you use a certified installer, so that's definitely the way to go. So what does the panel cost to install? That's a great question. It really depends on your current setup. This panel was just basically removing what was here, the old style, and installing a new panel. So it was pretty inexpensive. It was about $3,500, and that included the grounding, the permits, new breakers, and doing a safety inspection of the electrical system throughout the entire home. And of course, relabeling the panel. Yeah, so that's what something like that would cost. If we have to replace the panel, if this panel was 100 amps and the person wanted to go up to a 200 amp panel, then we would have to replace that big cable that goes outside along with the meter. And here in Oregon, you're upgrading to a meter main, so you actually have a breaker outside to turn off power and one inside. That's a code requirement. Some people don't like that, but that's just how it is. It's interesting. During a setup like that, we charge about $6,000, and that includes all your permits and grounding and safety inspection and all that stuff. The Span panel itself, we get a little bit of a discount, so it's a little bit under, closer to $3,000 just for the equipment. And then you'd be looking at a couple $1,000s for us to install it too. And that's new breakers, grounding, and also that safety inspection too. So they kind of come out to be about the same price. You've got a variety of prices for electricians all over the country, even here in Oregon. People charge different amounts, but at Smiley Electric, we're focused on safety. And so doing that safety inspection, checking everything out throughout the house and the panel, it requires some time. And we think that it's important to make sure that our customers have the safest install. Also install surge protectors too. And if you do decide to go with something like a like a smart panel, like a Leviton, or better yet, the Span panel, then those will make it so that you're able to manage and verify your energy system. Yeah, there's other items out there that will check your energy, but Span and also Leviton make it so that you're able to actually see it on your phone and control it. It's just not a monitoring device, but it's also part of a safety feature too. So that's what I can tell you about panels. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Have a great one. Keep smiling.